our second show ever, Dan Auerbach and his girlfriend are walking on the sidewalk, and they hear us from the rooftop. They can't see us. He goes into the front desk to ask who's this band on top. He had his team like reach out to us. He was like, find me this band that was playing on this rooftop at this time. So his team reached out to the hotel. They reached out to like the event promoter. So we had the hotel guy hitting us up being like, hey, so and so from Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys wants to talk to you. The event promoter said, hey, they hit me up. I gave them your email address. We got emails, we got Instagrams from like 3 different people just following their boss's direction of find me this band.
We're already recording.
Okay, what's up?
Not much. All right, rapid fire questions. Right off the bat. Whataburger, In-N-Out.
Whataburger.
Supposed to be rapid fire questions, but I threw myself off. Whiskey or gin?
Whiskey.
Hamburger or hot dog?
Hamburger.
Republican or Democrat? I'm kidding. You don't have to answer. How's your day been, man?
It's going good.
Yeah?
It's been a chill one. I mean, I teach early on Thursdays. So I was teaching at one of the middle schools here in Austin.
Okay.
Early in the morning.
Yeah.
But after that, I have time to go home and relax for a little bit.
Right on.
Get some paperwork stuff done, whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
Midday, mid-morning, and then about to go teach at my other school in the afternoon.
Right on, man. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, I've been teaching a lot. I've been working a lot, so it's been a very busy kind of year for me, which has been good.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, as I like to do on all these podcasts, we need to take it back to when you first started your career. So when did you start annoying your parents with drums?
I guess the drumming thing started... I didn't play drums until 7th grade band. It's the first time I ever... got into drums.
What piqued your interest in playing the drums?
I took piano lessons as a kid.
Yeah.
And then when I got to middle school in 7th grade, I, wanted to join band.
Okay.
And I wanted to play flute because I thought that was the coolest thing. Bugs Bunny, like walking around playing the flute.
Okay. All right.
I thought that was awesome. It still is awesome. I was right then, and I'm right now. Flute is cool,
but I mean, there's so many cool people that played like the saxophone, like Bill Clinton and
totally.
But the flute, huh?
Yeah, I just thought it was awesome.
Right.
But when you go in, you meet the band director, you do some sort of aptitude test on some instruments.
Yeah.
And I had no aptitude for it, no proficiency at it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then, I'm looking around for what else could I try to do. I didn't really know that much about any of the other instruments.
Yeah.
I looked over at the, we'll call it a xylophone. It was actually a bells or a glockenspiel, but I, looked over at the xylo and I said, oh, that's like the same layout as a piano.
Right.
So I went and like with my fingers just tapped out a song I remembered from my piano days.
Chopsticks?
Not even something like, no, so it was more...
Beethoven's
it was
what's that song?
Beethoven's Fifth
there
Symphony.
You go.
Yeah, it was something pretty chill. I mean, not like a whatever. But I tapped out something I just remembered from my piano days, and they said, "That's great. You're going to be in percussion now." Because we finally have a percussionist who can read music and knows.
Oh, okay.
Things have changed a lot. I don't know how much you care about the state of music education.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fascinating.
Things have changed a lot. When I was a kid, it was like every percussionist wanted to be a drummer. It was all like drums. You only cared about drumline. Everybody was fighting to play the snare drum part.
It's the coolest thing as play a 12-year-old, right?
Yeah. Everybody's fighting to play the bass drum part, and then you like got stuck on a mallet part playing marimba or xylophone or bells. And that was like the what you had to wade through to get to what you wanted, which is play some, everybody's taking turns, just like, I hope this song is done quickly so that I can go on to the next song where I get to play snare drum.
Yeah.
And I see that that's changed kind of a lot because I really, so many of my students are like so mallet forward now. Like that's what they care about more.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Even at the high school level, I teach also I teach private lessons at a high school here in Austin, and these kids are all fantastic. Much better than I was in high school. A couple of them are better than I was in college. But they just have their priorities have shifted. They understand. They just feel differently about that thing, and it's interesting to see because it's almost like it's certainly much more mature. It was such kind of like a jock attitude to be like only care about drumline,
right?
To only. Do you curse on this show?
We can do whatever we want.
Okay.
You can say fuck shit. I mean, your students are going to watch this.
Oh, never mind. But to only give a care.
Maybe they might watch it.
To only give a care about the marching band stuff, but that's kind of, I don't see that as much.
Why do you think they care now? Or like, what do you think they don't? It's not. It feels like, from what I just gathered, it's no longer a popularity contest, as it seems. It seems like they're actually doing it for the music. Or am I wrong?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't know how how to like build that from the ground up. Like, I don't know how to instill that.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of these teachers do. The teachers that are seeing them every day are instilling it, but they also just think it's cool. Sorry, I chugged something right before this. I didn't realize I'd be slamming down on the couch and immediately chatting. Yeah, I don't know, but they're doing something right to get the kids interested in like the wider world of mallet percussion and the snare drum stuff, and it's good in that sense. Although there might be a drawback in that I kind of noticed there's less of like a competitive when everybody was fighting over the favorite instrument, which back in the 2000s was the snare drum.
Yeah.
When everybody's fighting to be like the guy playing snare drum, that competition created a lot of really great drummers, like genuine, like just drummers. And the like competitiveness thing I don't see as much really anymore.
Is that good or bad?
It depends. If you're an old man dinosaur like myself, you think it's bad and these kids are getting soft and what do you mean you have to what do you mean you have to miss band rehearsal so you can go visit your relatives in the hospital? How dare you? But that's because I'm 100,000 years old.
Whoa, hold on. We're about the same age. Let's let's not say that.
No, I'm meaning metaphorically.
Okay.
I'm still kind of like a dinosaur. The days of like, I don't know, everything's much more. It's obviously much better. Everything is much more like forgiving. Kids miss band class all the time now, and this translates to kids miss basketball practice, kids miss football practice all the time now for other things. And like the directive from the school down is telling all these coaches and band directors and theater directors, the directive is like, that's fine. If you're a football coach, college and pro, obviously college and pros are different.
They're getting paid to be there, so they should be there.
College kids are now college and pros are now not different, but college is now different from high school.
Yeah.
But anyway, like even at the high school level, you're not allowed to, a football coach isn't allowed to scream at a kid who missed one of the 3-a-days in the summer because he has a job or because he has to drive his grandma to her appointment or whatever.
Yeah.
That used to be much more intense.
I remember I had to run 2 miles because I missed football practice during 2 days. because I was taking guitar lessons with Steve Bannon. Steve Barrick? I forget his
Steve
name.
Bannon?
No, I don't know.
From
Steve
Breitbart?
Yes.
You took guitar lessons from the...
his name is Steve Bannock. I forget it. His name was Steve, and he was an awesome blues guitarist in Alpine. And my family just got me a guitar. They're like, you should learn to play this. Let's go give you lessons. So I took lessons, but I was like 30 minutes late to football practice, and coach made me run 2 miles. I was like, this is bullshit. Well, I don't want to play guitar anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the story. I don't think that happens anymore.
Yeah. Well, good. I think that's... Well, I think it depends, to your point. To your point. If you're trying to build a championship team and... your star wide receivers playing guitar. I don't know why I alluded that I was a star, but I think that could be hurting. Maybe from a coach's perspective, it's like it's hurting my chance at getting a pay raise or going on to some other big school. I could see that aspect and the importance of attending.
Yeah, well,
practice.
if you're thinking about that, then I don't
Right.
care. Yeah, I don't think you should be using the Alpine High School as your stepping stone to.
Are you sure, Nick?
To greater football accolades. But, yeah, I mean, that's that question of, like, is it really better to be well-rounded or is it better to be good at something and dedicated?
Yeah, that's true.
You get to that, you let all these kids be well-rounded. Now everybody's a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
What's better?
But oftentimes better than a master of one. I think that's how the saying
Is there a
goes.
third part to that phrase?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Because I was Googling it one day to figure out if I was saying it right, and then Google told me there's an actual ending to that statement, which is you're still like a jack of all trades is still better than a master of one for whatever reason. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
That changes the whole...
It kind of does, yeah.
Okay, well...
Google it after this conversation.
I'll never Google it. I've never looked up... I didn't know there was a third part to that
there
phrase.
Is, yeah.
I'll never find... I'll never find out for sure, but interesting. Oh, either way, maybe that's true. I don't know.
Yeah. But where did you grow up? Where did you go to school and when you were doing?
I'm from South Texas.
South
I grew up
Texas.
in
Okay.
Harlingen.
All right.
Harlingen, Texas, down in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah. And then you went to school you went to Texas State. That's obviously where we met.
That's where we met.
What did you go to school for? Music or
I studied
recording?
music.
Okay. What was it like from... Well, we've had a few parties together back in the day, Bobcat Village. But what was your college experience like going to school? Going to school for music. Wow. I've had too much coffee today.
It was great. I mean, it was really great program. And honestly, I got very lucky because I don't know. I mean, coming out of high school, going to college for music, looking back on it now, thinking about the musician I was at 17 when I graduated high school, was I really in a position to be like saying I should do this forever? I don't think I can think back to what that kid was like, and I was like, he's not that good. He's certainly not good enough to, and then so going to Texas State was great because it was a really good program. I found out very quickly what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I found out it took me a lot longer to actually start doing it. Not entirely, but a little bit of blame falls on Bobcat Village.
It was a fun time.
keeping me from being as studious as I should have been.
Vibes were high. Grades were not so high.
The vibes were high, but the grades were low.
Yeah.
That rules. Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, it was great, but I'll always credit the most important thing I personally could have ever gotten from Texas State is that's the first time I ever saw like Latin music. Besides, growing up in the Valley, first of all, there's not a ton of like live music in the Valley, and I wasn't going to the few plays. I'd seen plenty of like. And there's mariachis working, and you go to Mexico, and at some of these clubs, there's like one of those duos with a guy on a Casio keyboard, and another dude playing bass, and they're playing basically to like karaoke tracks and singing along and stuff like that. The first time I ever saw like a live salsa band, 12 instrumentalists and vocalists playing, 3 drummers all playing together, 5 horns, 3 singers, bass, guitar, piano, all that stuff, was at Texas State. And I fell in love with that instrumentation. I fell in love with that style of music right then. And so that's the best thing I think I ever got out of my Texas State education was the exposure to that, because I just I just fell in love with it and I dedicated everything to it forever.
So when you went to school for music, what did your parents say? Were they like, we support you? Or were they maybe try another major?
They were both supportive. Yeah. They were both supportive, immensely. Yeah. Especially for my, bachelor's degree. I did start off as I had another major, like a dual major, or actually not even dual major, but a dual degree. Because I was also getting like an economics degree for a little bit. Oh, okay. Because I thought I wanted to study so I was getting a BA in economics and then a music degree also. Okay. I ended up scrapping the BA in economics. I took all those business courses I had taken and I just wrapped that into like a business minor. So I got a music degree with a business minor.
That's great, man. I would have, looking back at it now, I wish I would have done that, because I'm just trying to play catch up on the understanding of what it takes to run a business. So
I if I had known how much business I would have to do, I would have. I should have done a business degree and just played in the salsa band. That would have been very applicable to. Well, I guess I teach a lot now too, so I guess that comes in handy. Who knows? But if my parents were both completely supportive. My dad 100%. My mom will put her at 99. My mom would have loved for me to get a safer, and she's not wrong. She would have loved for me to get a safer degree that gives you more access to the job market and blah blah blah. My dad just he had done that. My dad hated my dad had.
I have to apologize. It's
right.
Never this fucking loud in this cul-de-sac.
Is this getting picked up?
No. It's just, it's annoying because obviously the mics are doing a good job of concentrating the sound. But I have a neighbor down the street. I forget his name, but he'll bump his whip around in this cul-de-sac to do his target thing. And then we got the fucking chainsaw going off in the background.
Yeah, that's right next door.
They started at 10:30, and I'm like, all right, they should be done by the time Nick gets here. Anyways, yeah, sorry about that.
No,
it was just so annoying.
But my dad was very much don't, he was like, he had a good job and he had a good career, but he was like, don't get stuck doing something you don't want to do.
Hell yeah.
And so when my mom would tense up and cringe about how's he going to make a living? My dad was don't worry about it. He'll be fine. But they can both be, they could both be right.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Right. During your college, while you're at college, did you know that you were going to end up teaching? Was that like a fallback plan or?
No, I taught a little in college. Again, what I'm doing now, private lessons. I taught at a middle school in New Braunfels for a little bit.
Okay.
Going down there once or twice a week to just teach a handful of students. I don't know. I didn't go to college with the intention of getting an education degree. Again, I should have, perhaps, but I just didn't.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thinking back on it now, I wish I could remember better what I actually thought going into everything.
We're young, we're dumb,
yeah.
How are we supposed to know what the future is going to hold for us at that age?
Yeah.
Our parents just said, go to college because that's going to make you successful. And then that was it. That was like, all right, then you figure it out.
Yeah, they didn't say go to college for music because that'll make you successful. Nobody told you that. For sure, nobody told you that.
Well, they weren't specific enough. So it's you're an adult now. If you can get drafted into war, you can certainly decide what major to take at college.
Sure. It worked out for me, I ended up, it is my full-time job. It's rare to meet people whose full-time job is has anything to do with their college major.
Right.
Right?
I'm finding that out.
Yeah,
Like,
my parents both studied journalism in college, and then by the time I knew them, neither one of them was a journalist.
Yeah.
I was born after their journalism days were done. My older brother also studied journalism in college. He's now a teacher. So I would say, I don't know if I'm making up stats here, but 51% of people don't have an occupation that's not directly related to their degree of some kind, if they have one.
I mean, shit, that's probably even higher. Everyone that I meet nowadays, like when I ask them what they went to college for, it's completely, it's completely separate of what they're doing now to earn a living. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm using I have a music degree and a master's in Latin American music. I'm using both of those every day. So
that's something to be proud of, man.
I just stuck with it. That's the real thing, is that if you just stick with it, you will eventually be the only one left.
Everyone else would have quit or just
gone on to much more lucrative, feasible, real jobs.
But I mean, I think there is something to say that you need to ask them, are they happy? And if that's the case, then great. But I've met some people who are making good amount of money, but they're not, as happy as I am. But to that point, like
Fair
there
enough.
are days when I'm seeing my bank account, I'm like, I'm not happy. I should have done something
I know.
else.
I'll also tell you this: I'm not particularly that happy. I would rather be unhappy in a pool.
Yeah, but I mean, who else can say they played with Dan Arbach at shows?
Well, that's true.
I mean, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, well, that's also, I guess there's like that bit of an artist thing of I don't know. I definitely have a weird artist thing of like I'm kind of not satisfied or not happy a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it's unfair of me to ascribe that to all artists, but
no, I think there is a little bit of like, okay, what can I do to be better for the next time? I think there's always this carrot that you're chasing.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have to understand that you are living the life that you want and you're doing cool stuff. And that's something to be valued in life.
Oh, for sure. Because when I finally quit, because I had a handful of office jobs, and when I finally quit my last office job, my last desk job, I was a patient advocate for a firm here in Austin. I don't know if they're still around. I know they've gone through some big changes after I departed.
Yeah.
But it was a company called the Caris Group, and we worked with patients to help them negotiate and settle upon medical debt.
Oh, that sounds like a tough
It's an
job.
impossible job.
Yeah.
It's very hard. They're wonderful people for undertaking this thing. There's many people that were much better at it than I was. I also just kind of fell into that gig. A friend of a friend recommended me to a thing. I don't know any. I had no healthcare background, no healthcare billing background, no healthcare administration background. Most people kind of did.
How the hell did you get the job?
I mean, my
How are you
job was
qualified?
My job was as a negotiator. So my job was just to call hospitals on the phone and negotiate on behalf of a patient trying to reduce their bills.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's kind of like a salesy talking job. But I just didn't come from that ecosystem. Even though I didn't need to for that specific position, my coworkers that cared about the healthcare industry before and after this, they were just more comfortable in those waters than I was. But I could do the job adequately for a time. But it got very hard because it's an impossible job, and you deal with a lot of patients who are struggling, and it just was really weighing on me. Yeah. And I just wasn't. And after a while, I wasn't performing as well as I should have, and I just wasn't happy. And I had a couple opportunities come up, and I said, I'm going to quit, and I'm going to go play music full time and do some teaching, and then I'll figure it out something else. Yeah. So June of 2019, I think, is when I left the workforce. The last time I had a W-2 was in 2019.
Oh man.
And then I had a couple of like out of town runs with bands, and I started teaching here and there at different schools and everything. And
were you in Austin at this time?
oh yeah,
When you were okay.
Yeah, I was in Austin. I've been in Austin. I've lived in Austin since 2015.
Okay. It's right about the same time I think I moved here, maybe a little later. Anyways, all right.
But I was living here, and then, I was really worried about am I gonna make ends meet doing music full time, and I did. Starting in June 2019, I was like, I think I can make this work. And it went really well for like 8 months.
And then something happened. At that time, when you decided you were going to make the jump and become a full-time musician, did you have like financials saved up?
I had a little bit of.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had some money in my checking account.
Okay.
For sure.
Did you feel like, okay, if I'm going to do this, what am I having to sacrifice if I'm going to become a full-time musician? Did that thought process come across your head?
Yeah, you think about all those things, and I had to have these conversations with somebody at the time, who was very rightfully concerned about what will we have to sacrifice.
Sure, yeah.
And I just said, look, I'm going to try it. Before my bank account goes to zero, I'll get another job. If I have, I'll either make it work, or when we both see that it's clearly not working at all, I'll find something else. But even if I get 6 months away from this job that I had, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I was doing okay. And again, teaching, I got into teaching very quickly and started collecting lots of students. But then my music career ended along with the rest of the world's when the pandemic hit.
Unfortunately, yeah.
My upward trajectory was taken. But I got a bunch more students.
Wow. Okay.
All virtual.
Dude,
It was virtual, and if you're a piano teacher or a drum teacher or any kind of music teacher out there that you were working in 2020, you remember like the pain of teaching on Zoom or FaceTime or trying to teach piano to a kid on Zoom and trying to get this kid to point their iPhone in the correct direction so you can see their hands, and then they're like asking them all the questions, like what, they play something, like you have to tell them, you just have to do all the steps, point to measure 5, point to beat 3. What's the name of that note? And they're like, I don't know. And then you have to every piano lesson involved way more talking than it should because you just couldn't be on the same page because you're not in the same room. But we did it, and parents were signing their kids up for lessons because they needed this kid. They needed somebody else to look at this kid for a half an hour that wasn't them. And so, teaching kind of picked up during the pandemic, all virtual, while obviously gigs kind of ended completely.
Yeah. It seemed like that previous job that you had was it helped develop your patience, wouldn't you say?
No, I don't know.
Are you already a patient guy?
With my students, I am.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's got. Yeah, I remember my sister. She's a teacher in California. She's been doing it for 30 years now, and yeah, she was very concerned of how am I supposed to teach these kids via a computer screen? Like, it's hard enough to do it in person.
Yeah.
And she teaches first grade. And so it's like, yeah, they have all these, I don't know, they're just wandering all over the place. It's really hard to make the connection. And I mean, thank God they've made it through, but we'll see what the the end results.
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah.
My older brother's a teacher as well. And, they had their virtual classes and everybody's supposed to log on at a certain time, and more than half the class doesn't even show up. And, he's not allowed to. You just have to do all kinds of my teaching experience as a primarily as a private lesson teacher is so different from like a classroom teacher because I'm one-on-one no matter what. Yeah. So even like I still have one student who's still virtual. She just never came back from the pandemic. It's totally fine. She's very self-motivated, and so she practices and she'll send me a song like, let's work on this week, and I'd be like, sure. And then and we've been doing it for 6 years. We have our virtual system down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, luckily that's my only virtual student.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Are you allergic to cats, by the way?
No.
Okay, good. Cats come in here and they sit on the couch. I just thought about it.
Okay.
I was supposed to ask you that before you got in.
Nah.
But anyways, teaching her virtually.
So that's my only virtual holdover from pandemic times. But even at that time, one-on-one, the kid has to show up. It's it's easy to like wrangle their attention for the most part. A whole classroom would be. I mean, it was a nightmare. I know many teachers who went through it.
Right. So kind of flash forward to making your way through the music scene. What was the real band that you played with that was kind of like a staple for you that you were playing regular gigs?
My first band, I mean, I've had lots of bands with regular gigs for sure. Shout out Ross Bruner Band, based in San Marcos, Texas. We used to travel all over Texas, mostly like southeast Texas.
Did you ever get to play at Triple Crown?
Oh yeah, I played Triple Crown a lot. I played Triple Crown a lot with some salsa groups.
Okay, right on. That was a cool venue.
Yeah, Triple Crown was great. R.I.P. Triple Crown.
One of the last venues that I think you could have smoked in at the time that we were there.
Yeah. So when San Marcos Park passed its no smoking law, there were a few businesses that were able to get exemptions for various reasons. Well, at the time it was the Restless Wind. Now it's called Chances Are, right off the square. But Restless Wind was like really cool bar, kind of an older crowd.
Did they have shuffleboard in there?
I think so.
Okay. I don't remember that.
It's like right across from the Irish bar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's now called Chances Are, sure. But it was Restless Wind at the time, and it was kind of like a professor hangout. You'd go there, but there was never that many like college kids hanging out. At the time, back in the day. San Marcos gave some exemptions to businesses when they passed their no smoking laws. Like, if you don't have, it was like everybody has to smoke outside. If you're a bar like the Restless Wind, you don't have an outdoor patio. You say I'm applying for a permit. I'm hiring contractors. We're building a patio. Should be done in 7 months. They get a 7-month exemption. Their patrons can still smoke inside until they get their thing built. Triple Crown had a different exemption because right at the same time or around the same time that smoking ban was passed, that property got sold and Triple Crown was being closed. Okay. And so it was like you can smoke until the building is until your lease is up, and then they're condemning the building and they're destroying it, and they're putting up some high rise nonsense with a sweet green on the first floor, and then gray apartments on the second through fifth floors. So you can smoke until then. Okay. So they got an end of life exemption. Yeah. Whereas other bars were able to get a let me build a deck exemption.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like the government telling you to pay more money to build something out on a piece of property that's not yours. Anyways,
yeah, well, you don't. I mean, that's true. That's a great point. You don't have to build the deck. You can just go non-smoking entirely.
Yeah. But I thought we're in freedom land. Anyways, so full band in Austin. What do you?
Well, yeah. So when I
playing in San Marcos,
finally moved to Austin, playing a handful of different groups. But the first band I ever had that in addition to having regular gigs, but had started to get like real fans and was playing original music and is a band called Superphonicos. Shout out Superphonicos. Still, I mean, one of my favorite bands in Austin. I say they. I'm in the band, absolutely.
They haven't kicked you out yet.
No. But it's still like it's a magical band doing something that nobody else is doing. Truly found like a special niche, and it's all in the Latin music cumbia world. And it's a very unique, very special band. But we started that 10 years ago, or I joined it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was there for the second show onward. They did like one show as a full band before I got involved. So I've been there from almost the beginning. And that band is great. And we got shows coming up this month. Come see us open for Nidia Góngora at Radio East on April 19th. That's going to be incredible. I think it's April 19th.
It's a great venue. I love Radio East.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really, really good. And if you're unfamiliar with Nidia Góngora, she's a incredible musician from the Pacific coast of Colombia, who has just a huge catalog and a wide breadth of music, and traditions from Colombia's Pacific coast, which is different from the cumbia stuff, which is like Atlantic or Caribbean coast. Okay. But she's an icon, and so Superphonicos getting to open for her is like a dream. We've been trying to make this happen a couple times, and it's finally looks like it's gonna make it work.
Okay. Now flash forward to Animeros. How did this come to be?
Well, Superphonicos had been around 8 years at the time. And, that's like an 8-person band, or now a 7-person band, but that's a big group. And, pandemic came and went, and that band came out of I always make this joke, but that band came out of the pandemic with like 3 more wives and 4 more kids between the 8 of us.
Yeah.
And so
you guys Mormon or what? Okay.
Well, for a band that already wasn't going to go on tour, just a band with 8 musicians, that isn't famous.
Yeah. That's another question.
You can try to get out on the road here and there. You can try to do some stuff, but it's hard to make money on the road, and it's hard for 8 guys. It's hard to make enough money to make it worth it for 8 guys on the road. And also now we've got, it's 2021. It's like now some of the guys I'm leaving 2 kids behind at home, and one of them is only 8 months, or I'm leaving 3 and one of them is only 2 months. It's like for not that much money because we're not famous. We're popular in Austin. Thank you so much, Austin, for all your love and support all these years. But when we try to, go to Dallas, it's tough. When you try to go beyond that, it's tough. So me and a couple other guys from Superphonicos decided to, what if we could create something smaller footprint, fits into a minivan. You don't have to rent a big van, fits into something smaller. And then we'll just take the gigs that Superphonicos has to turn down. That's the other thing we started was Superphonicos, after building up some cachet over the years and, getting to like a level of popularity in town. We have that band being an 8-person or now a 7-person band, but that band has like a threshold. We can't do gigs for $300, $500 anymore. $500 split 7 ways is nothing. It's $0. But we were like, well, maybe we can create a 3 or a 4. Maybe we can create something smaller. So when somebody emails us, with good intentions, being like, I would love to book Superphonicos. Our budget is only $600.
Our budget is only exposure.
Well, that's easy to say no to, just kind of anyways.
I know, yeah.
But when you get those emails like our budget's only $600, and it's like, well, we can't bring out the 8-person Superphonicos for that, but we have a new thing on the side. We'd love to pitch this to you if you're interested in this other thing. Here's something. But that was kind of our idea going in. We wanted something a little more just agile. And, and it's fun to mix it up and try some new stuff. We had fun in the songwriting process early on.
Yep.
Coming up with some new stuff and what we wanted to do. So it was great. And that was genuinely the idea. I even told, my bass player who's, plays bass player for Superphonicos, shout out Nico. I'm going to say shout out like 100,000 times.
I love it. Do it. Do all the shout outs.
I'm kidding every time I say it. I'm just but anyway, Nico does all the booking for Superphonicos, and I was like, we'll start this new band. You don't even have to stress yourself out about booking that much. We'll just take the gigs that the big band says to say no to. Why not? Don't even work that hard. And then our second show was a hotel rooftop on South Congress. And like our second show ever, this is March of 2024. Our second show ever, Dan Auerbach and his girlfriend are walking on the sidewalk, and they hear us from the rooftop. They can't see us. He goes into the front desk to ask, who's this band on top?
They're like the Beatles because they're the only band that play on rooftops.
Yeah, they said the Beatles, and he said, okay, never mind. And then that's where our story ended. No, she told him the name of the band, and then he had his team reach out to us. He was like, find me this band that was playing on this rooftop at this time. So his team reached out to the hotel. They reached out to the event promoter. So we had the hotel guy hitting us up being like, hey, so and so from Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys wants to talk to you. The event promoter said, hey, they hit me up. I gave them your email address. We got emails, we got Instagrams from 3 different people just following their boss's direction of find me this band.
Is that kind of not a miracle? I wouldn't describe that, but it seems like no, but it seems like there's so many degrees of where the miscommunication could have happened. Here's Dan telling, hey, find me this band, and then what if those people from the hotel were lazy and didn't want to answer the email, Or am I just making that up in my head, or is it actually?
Well, there's other ways to. That's again the you ask the people at the hotel who's putting this event on, and they'll give me the event promoter. So the guy that booked us, for that show, he got reached out to. Yeah. And then when they found the name of the band, they reached out directly.
Okay.
On Instagram.
All right.
Yeah. So, that was just their mission to find us. I think we were also the only Latin band on the bill that day.
Yeah. Second show, and you fucking strike lightning like that. That's awesome.
It's absolutely just striking lightning.
What? Okay, maybe the universe was like, hey, let's throw some good karma towards these boys because of all the hard work that they've been putting in their life.
Sure, maybe if you want to give it to the universe, that doesn't bother me. People talk about being in the right place at the right time. That's obviously a part of it. It's also being ready. Yep. I had been playing Latin music for 15 years at that point. No, maybe longer.
You were due.
No, about 15 years.
You were definitely due.
So had the other guys. We'd all been professional musicians in Austin or in around Texas for a decade and a half at that point. Yeah. And then, it's when the opportunity strikes. Are you reveals itself? Are you ready to take it on? Yeah. We had no idea, but we tried, and it's working out so far, I guess.
So what happens after that, after they reach out to you? Actually, so you play the show. How much longer until you actually get contacted from a representative?
It was like a week later, I think, when we started
Okay.
getting the first messages
Yeah.
coming to us.
Were you like concerned, like what the hell is this, or were you excited?
I had no access to our like social media at that time, so I didn't see in the messages.
Yeah.
Nico's got it first from the promoter of the show. And so when he tells the story, he says he thought it was like an April Fool's joke. But I just wasn't there for like the initial kind of. Yeah, I didn't read the email with him when he got it.
Yeah. Okay.
But they reach out and talk to us, and then said that Dan liked what he heard, and would you guys be interested in meeting him?
Like, absolutely not.
Well, and we said yes, and then what we did know. So the first thing we did before we ever played a show with this band is we recorded 4 tunes. We recorded our first EP, recorded them ourselves, mixed and produced it all ourselves, and put that out just to have something to send to clubs.
That's smart.
We'd do some booking,
Yeah.
like this is what the new band sounds like, or something to pitch to, again, people that try to book the other band.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a different band. If you like this vibe, check out these 4 songs, and if you still like that, this band can work with your budget, whatever. What we then saw is that we're getting a lot of plays in Nashville. And
Interesting.
it turns out they had been in their the record label, in their meetings, they'd been listening to this record a bunch. Just everybody's playing it. Everybody's playing it. They're talking about it. They're playing it in meetings over the big speaker. I know exactly where they were now because I've been to these rooms. But they're sitting around the back having their meeting. They're playing it on the speakers, looking at each other like, we like this stuff, right? Like, this stuff seems cool. Maybe it's worth taking these guys out to breakfast. And that's exactly what happened. April 8th or 9th, whatever, the day after that eclipse.
This solar?
Yeah.
We were on the golf course when that eclipse happened. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It's just like it was a big shadow over everything, yet the sun was out. Anyway, sorry.
I threw a party. I had I had an eclipse party.
Hell yeah. That's
Some
awesome.
friends took off work. They came over. We were just I got a backyard. I live like 2 minutes from here.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm real close.
There's a lot of musicians that live in this area. And I'm like, Dave Scher apparently lives right up.
Oh, yeah?
Right up
Nice.
the block somewhere. Yeah. Anyways, lunar party or
Yeah.
solar party.
Solar eclipse party.
Solar eclipse
the next
party.
day, we go have breakfast with Dan and Alan, who's the head engineer at the record label.
Here in Austin.
Yeah, this is here in Austin.
What restaurant?
You
don't remember the restaurant?
I do
Come on,
remember the
man.
restaurant. It didn't have I don't remember its name. It had it's also on South. It's like the breakfast place to the hotel they were staying at.
Oh, okay.
It was like
Got
hotel breakfast.
Ah,
It was very
alright.
good. But we also were like, none of us ordered,
What'd you get? An egg and one piece of bacon?
That's for real. That's what our bass player got.
What, really?
Me and our guitar player, we both ordered like yogurt.
Oh,
I don't know, man. I don't.
Yeah, I get it.
What am I gonna show up and order like
I?
order the full buffet breakfast and
You ordered the tomahawk steak. I know it's not on the menu for
Yeah.
breakfast, but they're paying for it. Come on, no,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
kidding. You don't do that.
I didn't want to do that. And then we just talked. We just hung out, talked about music, talked about some of the stuff we've done, what we're wanting to do with this band. And then, it was great. It was really fun hanging out with those guys, meeting them for the first time, talking.
I know Dan's not the most recognizable individual. Like, you have to like the band to know who he is. Were there any interruptions from potential fans that came in?
No.
Really? Okay.
No, as a matter of fact, every time I've hung out with them in like public, we're not even, I guess that not public. I guess that would be the only like public time we've been out somewhere.
Yeah.
Was at that restaurant. Because even at the party that the record label throws in Nashville that we played for Americana Fest, which is like their South by.
Okay.
The Nashville South by is called Americana Fest.
Awesome.
In that it happens in a bunch of different venues around town.
Yeah.
And companies and labels throw their own parties and stuff like that, day parties, whatever. So we played the Easy Eye Sound day party in September, and nobody, hanging out with him out in the parking lot. People are saying hi to him, but there's nobody there that's like, I guess not. It's not a thing you can buy tickets to. It's like an RSVP. There's nobody there that's like starstruck by him, I guess.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Except for me.
I did. Well, I almost met him. Calexico was playing a show at Antone's off of, I think it was Lavaca and Fifth Street, the older location. I went to go see them, and then Dan. One of the main reasons why I went to go see them was Dan was his solo project. They were opening up for Calexico.
Nice.
And I went and grabbed after the show, I grabbed the set list from Calexico, and Patrick Carney was just sitting right there, just hanging out. And I go, "Hey man, I really like your music." He goes, "Thank you." I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, I don't want to like talk his ear off, but I was kind of starstruck. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's a drummer for the Black Keys."
Yeah, he's really nice. Patrick's really cool. I mean, they're both great.
Yeah.
They're both super sweet guys. Yeah, they're really nice. And so,
shout out Sean for introducing me to the Black Keys. I remember he took me to him and my brother-in-law and my wife. They took me to go see my first concert. It was the Black Keys in Beck, and Black Keys opened up for Beck. This was years ago, 2003 or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, that was my first intro to the Black Keys. I'm like, oh yeah, these guys rock. So
yeah, they're awesome. They're very, very good.
So you wrap up breakfast. What are the vibes like? High spirited.
I mean, yeah, we're
giddy.
We're happy. They're very calm. I mean, I'll never forget. He turns to Alan, who also works for the label and is like kind of his like right hand man, engineering wise. And he goes, "We should invite these guys up to Nashville to listen to some tunes." And Alan goes, "Absolutely, man. I'll get it on the calendar. Like I'll make it happen."
Okay. What does that really mean? Because when I hear that, I'm like, Are you guys like buying our plane flights? Are you like putting us up? Because that's not an expense. That's not a cheap trip.
Yeah, exactly. We don't even know, what does he mean listen to tunes? Because a lot of our breakfast was talking about like music influences,
right?
And talking about, he's a DJ. Nico's our bass player. Nico's a DJ. Dan's also a DJ.
Okay.
They were talking about their like vinyl 45 collections and how Dan has an incredible like cumbia collection, stuff like that. He's a legit like encyclopedia or dictionary of music. He just can pick. He just knows so much.
Yeah.
Even so much of the Latin stuff that I know about, he's well versed in.
Oh wow, okay.
Which
impressive.
I know him as the Black Keys guy. I figure he's a blues and a rock guy.
Right, yeah.
He's brilliant in 1,000 different genres for sure.
Oh,
so it's
interesting.
He's an impressive curator of music.
Yeah.
For on his separate from his performing career. But he's like, yeah, let's invite these guys up to listen to some music. So it's like, does that mean we're going up there to like, we're just gonna take turns playing records we like? Like, are we just talking influences? Is that how this goes? Like, you just talk influences, and then you decide like, I don't know, does he want to write some stuff with us? We had no idea what it meant, tangibly. I'll tell you what it. Eventually, we figured out it meant is we got to write a bunch of songs. We got to play. He's sending us. He's texting us music back and forth like all the time. A couple of them be like, "Here's a few songs. Like, why don't you guys cover one of these? Do the vocal, sing it. Do the vocal part. Check this out. Why don't you try this? See what you guys like." So we picked a few covers that we liked that he recommended. We had a couple covers of our own that we were already doing, and then we wrote 16 other songs.
That's a lot. All with what was the time frame when you were writing these songs?
I mean, some of them we had already kind of been playing.
Okay, got it.
Just telling the story. We did 20 songs in a week up there, because we just gave them everything. We don't know what you're gonna like. What you're gonna, we'll just give you everything we got. See what you think. The first day we recorded like 7, And those 7 were tunes we had played on stage before. So I think it was like 2 covers that not the ones that Dan recommended, but 2 covers, and then 5 like songs we had written that we had already been performing. And we went in like, we've played these 7 on stage. This is going to be our most comfortable. Like, this is going to be our good first day. Yeah. Good first impression. The next 2 days were stuff we had never like performed before, but we had written recently, and we had from April to June to write and put together all these songs.
I feel like rookie musicians would have seen that task as pretty, pretty troublesome. Is that? But because you're veterans, I felt like you were able to accomplish that.
Maybe. I mean, that's exactly the thing we were talking about a moment ago of the universe or whatever. Like, yeah, you can get this like spark of something you don't expect, but are you ready for it? You're a big comedy guy like myself. I remember one of the things Patrice O'Neill used to say, and I've listened to like every word he ever said into a microphone. But he said on a radio show, probably Opie and Anthony, said something. He said something along the lines of like, in this business, you never get anything at the right time. You either get it 10 years too early or 10 years too late. Meaning, comedically, meaning, you're hot, young, new comic. You strike fire. They offer you a special or they offer you a sitcom, and it completely collapses because you're not capable of doing it. You're 2 years in. You're just like some hot rising star, and then they throw way too much at you, and it all falls apart. And then you have to go 20 more years before they finally say, do you want to record this album? And by then you're a 25-year vet who's like, yeah, sure, just like whatever. By then you're too jaded and bitter to even appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was his story.
I think that sums it up. Yeah, that's a nail on the head right there.
So you can, again, you can, you're either, I don't know. In my mind, I was like, I could have taken this 10 years ago, but who knows if the version of me in 2015 was ready for that. Yeah. Probably not. Definitely the 2005 version of me wasn't. So who knows? Maybe that we were ready for it at the time that it appeared is valuable.
Yeah. So after that is all said and done, what were the feelings like in the band? Were they hopeful, or were you jaded and be like, man, this could all come crashing down?
We were thrilled. After that week of recording was one of the best weeks I've ever had. I think the other guys, Nico and Maudo, my bass player and guitar player, would agree that week was like really special. We just showed up. We gave them everything we had. They told us that they were blown away that we had 20 songs ready to go, that we played them all, recorded them all. They have a big chalkboard with like squares written on it, and they fill in the names of the songs and they write some details and stuff like that. They ran out of squares on the chalkboard. They had to start like cutting the last few in half in order to fit all these tunes.
Wow.
We gave them everything. We were completely ready for it. That Thursday, the president of the label, shout out Tom, takes us out to dinner. Tom and Alan, who we met before breakfast, they take us out to dinner. They said, we've heard everything you've done this week. We love it. They want, the label wants to offer you a record deal.
Wow.
So we're like, thanks. And then you're in the legal part of it. It takes, however, it took a couple months for their lawyer to like draft it up.
Yeah. Well, hold on. We're skipping the dinner. Did you get the tomahawk steak that night?
I got a steak for sure.
Okay, good. All right. As long as you got a steak.
I did. Oh yeah, I got a steak.
It feels like after a week
real?
long
Maldo got chicken. Maldo got chicken, and I think he regrets it. But it was. I think he said it was very good.
He opted for a fowl as opposed to a nice prime Wagyu steak that I'm sure the steakhouse offered or had on the menu.
Oh, you know what? I think I might have done like steak frites or something.
Okay. Well,
still kind of on the mob. But the other thing is, if you're in this business as long as I have been, you still do know like the record label thing.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
They aren't paying for this steak dinner.
Right.
That's what
I'm saying.
The second you sign, I mean, so it's like this. The second you sign the contract, you're paying for the dinner.
Your ass is theirs.
Yeah. So it's fine. I'm not gonna we're not gonna begrudge each other the extra $10 it would have been to get a nicer steak.
Right. Yeah.
In 3 years anyway. So
yeah,
just go for it.
But you're not going to remember the steak, obviously, you have that night, but you're going to remember the deal.
But that's the thing that it's nice. It's a nice event. They're offering us the record deal.
Yeah.
That's when you should be going out to a nice dinner with the label and the band, and then celebrating that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
The horror stories you hear of like the bands getting, which our record label is also very like, they're not in the business of screwing musicians, and they have enough money for steaks.
That's good. That's
on their
that's
own.
comforting to know. Yeah. To your point, it's nothing but horror stories that I hear from record labels, and it's very rare that we get something nice.
Yeah, in the
out of it.
in the 90s, all these all these pop punk bands or whatever that
Interscope.
Yeah, got signed to huge labels, and then then their label rep comes on tour with them every night. They're eating steak dinners every night and getting stuff delivered to the green room, and then at the end of the tour, they're like,
"You owe us $500."
Yeah, you owe the label. You're still in the hole. That's it. That's
okay.
like the only. That's the kind of stuff that gets you. That ruins your life.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But we earned this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get back. I assume you signed the deal.
Well, that took months.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it took months. The lawyers going back and forth, figuring out terms and stuff like that. That took a lot longer than any of us expected. But yes, we did sign once we got once our lawyer and theirs got everything
excellent
figured out.
Yeah.
It was great.
And then you guys play ACL.
Mm-hmm.
Was this your first experience playing at ACL?
No, when the Animados played ACL 2025, that was my third ACL I had played.
What is it like playing at ACL?
It's awesome. It's really, really fun. The third one was like my favorite one, just because I had done it enough times to just kind of be comfortable and know what to expect.
Right.
The first time I did it was like I'd never played a festival that large. So many logistics and so many things you're not comfortable with and whatever. But having done it a second and a third time, I was confident to be able to this is how it's going to go. We're going to go in here and blah, blah, blah. And we had very few of the logistical kind of nightmare things that plague bands.
For the Animados, was it on your radar to play ACL? Was there a heads up, or how did you get notified that you were going to be playing?
That came out of the blue.
Really? Okay.
So that was a surprise to us. We just got that email, or Nico got that email because he was our booking contact on our website.
Yeah. He's a comms manager as well.
He's our comms manager for booking for the most part. And then I guess all three of us are comms managers because we all three have different communication jobs.
Okay.
But anyway, he was our booking guy. So he just got that out of the blue. That's just C3, the company that owns Austin City Limits, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza. Like that's just them. ACL more than other festivals. I don't know how much ACL really tries to incorporate like local acts.
They do
local acts and also like world music acts or they try to diversify the lineup musically as well. I don't know if like Chicago puts that same pressure on Lollapalooza. I don't know if the Chicago music scene has like fought that battle to be included in Lollapalooza. I've never been to Lolla, so I don't know. But I do know, I mean I've seen the Austin fight over like they should be booking more Austin bands at ACL. I think they do a very nice job of it. I don't think that, I don't know. It's not up to me. I wouldn't tell them that they need to.
Yeah.
But they were pressured. C3 had been pressured by some Austin music organizations to that issue had been raised rather. I don't know how much pressure they really felt, but they did it anyways. Yeah. I think they do a really good job of including Austin bands. Maybe I say that because I've done it 3 times.
Well, I think that's
2
proof
times.
that they do include Austin musicians.
Yeah, I mean C3 only booked us twice. The second time I played, that was through BMI, who sponsors a stage, and so they get to book a few bands on their own stage directly.
Yeah. Did you ask? Well, this is a dumb question, but did you ask why the Animeadows? Why are we playing ACL? Or was it just hell yeah, we'll do it?
No, we didn't ask why. First of all, I mean, you just don't.
I know that's dumb.
Don't ask why,
I know,
folks.
but I guess my question was like, what did you want to? My thought is like, how do you get to play ACL, and that's where the why comes from.
We were, even though all of the record label stuff was a complete secret.
Yeah.
We hadn't told anybody but like our immediate families and stuff like that, and maybe a few friends. We had not announced to the world because we hadn't signed the paperwork yet.
Yeah.
And I'm a very big believer of like, I don't play any music for anybody till it's released. Well, outside of a handful of close friends and other, musicians and stuff like that. But like my parents hear Animeadows music when it comes out on Spotify like everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't show them like I show my roommate because he's an excellent guitar player, Sleepy Cowboy.
Shout out
Sleepy Cowboy. Check him out April 11th at I'm blanking on his gig.
That's all right.
That's right.
You got a lot of information in your head.
Anyway, but I don't show the stuff to a lot of people, and we didn't tell a lot of people because we're like, this could fall apart.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously music deals fall apart all the time. Again, being such like just being such a comedy podcast guy. I mean, the amount of stories I've heard of comics being like, I mean, did you ever hear that legendary like Kevin Hart story of when his show got pulled at the upfronts?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Young Kevin Hart, his first sitcom. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what it's called.
Oh, you remember? I guess I've obviously never heard of it.
You never saw it.
I never. Yeah,
nobody ever saw it.
Right.
They filmed a whole season of a show called Hart or called Kev or called whatever it was. They filmed a whole season, and then in the sitcom network sitcom world, there's an event called the Upfronts, mm-hmm. and it's like in the spring or whatever, and it's projecting. It's all the networks kind of get together. I think it's kind of for advertisers. Honestly,
okay.
I think the invited guests are advertisers, but all the networks get together and then they all say debuting in this fall, the new show from John Mulaney called Mulaney, the new whatever, blah blah blah. They're at that. They've filmed the season already. The show is filmed and done. It has a slot on Fox or whatever. I think it was a Fox sitcom. and like literally half an hour to an hour before he's gonna walk on stage as the star of a new sitcom and like wave to everybody in this theater, the Fox executives say we're killing the show, which is like kind of an unheard of story. I mean, shows have been canceled after 3 episodes.
Sure, yeah, they debut.
Yeah, they debut. It tanks. They cancel it. But this Kevin Hart story was legendary because they filmed everything and then they killed it at the upfronts before even showing it to like the potential advertisers. Or I don't know exactly who this event is for. There's a lot of Hollywood events that I don't know who this is for, but whatever. Anyway, but that's like a famous story, and he was telling people, like, I got a sitcom.
That's the worst. Yeah,
you think by the time you're getting to the upfronts, you're like I'm in safe waters now,
right?
And they killed it right then.
Yeah, that's sucks.
And so I tell nobody nothing because I heard that story years ago, and I was like, that if they do that to Kevin Hart in TV land, what are they going to do to any musician? Right. Music, is it's so different from like television and film anyways.
I think in this line of work, you have to be a little bit jaded because you just never know when the rug is going to get pulled out from under you. Because in this magazine, I have a photo that got printed, Texas Monthly.
Nice.
And I'm like, I went to the shoot. I took the photo. It's a photo of a really well-dressed Corona beer that's salted and has a lime in it, and they wanted to do like a photo of the beer with some sort of musical performance going on in the background, and so we did it at Moon Tower. And I'm like, okay, and they paid me pretty damn good, and I'm like, oh, that's nice that it's going to be in a magazine, but in the back of my head, I'm like, it's not going to make the magazine. It's just so I can not be let down. And then I got their payment. I'm like, oh, okay, so this thing might actually get printed. And then I texted the guy. I was like, hey, when is the issue coming out? And I'm expecting, oh yeah, sorry, we had to pull that pic. It's not good enough. Or I'm just conjuring up these stories in my head. And then he tells me, oh, it's going to be the April issue. I'm like, oh, okay. And even still to that point, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to pull up the magazine. It's probably just going to be like a little thumbnail. And sure enough, it's like third page. I'm like, oh my God. And it says my name in it. And I'm like, yeah.
Get this out. What are we doing?
It's not, I mean, it's a Corona beer, so.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it worked out.
That's a hell of a, this is at Moon. I know exactly where this is.
It's on the stage.
Yeah, you're right behind stage left at Moon Tower.
You're very familiar with that bar? Yeah, that's awesome.
So you're taking this from the floor up?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
dude,
I have the flash kind of like coming from the left side. So my shoulder is just, it's burning at this point because I had blasted probably like 40 other photos around that space.
Yeah.
Just trying to cover my ass to make sure that they have a quality photo that they can choose from. And that was a fun shoot. But again, while I'm doing all of this, I'm like, okay, it's an established publication. I know they're not going to like not pay me, but it's just in the back of my head, I'm like, this is almost too good to be true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart got paid for those 9 episodes of that show.
Right, yeah.
Or whatever. They just never came out.
Right. And so I was a little hesitant and like even telling my wife, I'm like, Texas Monthly just hired me to, take a photo that's going to be in the magazine. She got excited and I'm like, don't get too excited yet. This could all just fall apart. But yeah, I think in the back of my head, I think it's good to have that sense of, well, this could never be, this dream might not unfold, and that'd be okay.
Yeah, it is okay because it's like, well, something like this happens, something else will come up,
right.
or whatever. Who knows? It certainly worked out just fine for Kevin Hart.
Right.
So
when you do get the email that you're playing ACL, what's the sensation like for you? Is it like, oh, good, great, it's another day?
I mean, we it was awesome. We thought it was really great, of course, because how could you not?
Yeah.
It coincided with kind of a few other things. So it actually was kind of it lit a bit of a fire under us in a way that we kind of didn't expect. First things first, we had just signed our record label deal.
Yeah.
We didn't know when. We had recorded all this music a year and a half ago at this
point.
point.
Wow. Okay.
No, 9 months ago.
Still significant
10 months,
time.
10 months ago, whatever. We're still not sure the status of any of it. What's it gonna? When do they want this to come out? What can we do? Blah blah blah. The other thing is that when we started the band, we weren't called the Honey Meadows. We had a different name.
Really?
Yeah, the band started. Our OG name was Hotel de Nova. Which the record label recommended we change. They didn't like it. Fair enough.
Who came up with that name?
That was kind of a group effort. We put together different like aspects of it, and it fit a lot of criteria that that was important to me and to us.
Hotel what? Hotel
de Nova.
De Nova. Okay.
The main thing I liked about it was that you could say it in Spanish. You could say Hotel de Nova.
Yeah.
But you could say it in English. I wanted something that was like a crossover act of names.
Yeah.
It could do Spanish. It could do English. I wanted something that
the honkies and the hombres could say.
I wanted something that Texans of all shapes could pronounce.
Right.
You can pronounce it however you want.
Yeah.
I don't care if you say Hotel de Nova. I don't care if you say Hotel de Nova. It doesn't matter to me. I wanted something that like easy pronounced because I've been in other Latin bands with like. I mean, I think Superfonicos is like not that difficult, but you would be astounded at some of the ways people have pronounced Superfonicos.
Yeah.
And so I wanted something really simple in that way. And then another thing was early on we were thinking about like our sound,
mm-hmm.
and we had kind of come up with like, in a sense, like a Hotel California type of thing, not related to the actual song, but just the idea of this like exotic kind of like what's the band, what's playing in the ballroom of Hotel California. Because we have like exotica influences, which is a genre of music from like the 50s, and of course all of our Latin stuff. And we want to be like a we were thinking of like just imagery and stuff like that. You've done like vision boards and stuff like
mm-hmm.
that, or mood boards for like marketing type stuff. And we just had this image of like, we're like a hotel like a 50s bombo band
mm-hmm.
in a hotel, but it's kind of weird and kind of it's like kind of pre-psychedelic, but it's also like exotica type music, so we just had that. We kind of zoned in on that word and all this stuff. But anyway, they wisely recommended we change it for a number of different reasons. And so we hadn't officially changed it yet when we get the offer for Austin City Limits. Because we were like, that's the other thing is we're not going to change the band name and then have the deal fall through and then change it back. Like that's great.
Yeah.
We didn't want that. So we were just until we signed the deal, we were still performing under the original name. But then we get the offer for Austin City Limits, which is in October. We've got like 5 months of lead time for this. Well, we got to change the name now. The poster comes out. The Austin City Limits poster comes out in a week.
Right.
And we don't want to be on it as the old name.
Yeah.
Because we're definitely changing the name between now and October 3rd.
Yeah.
But we're not ready to change it now. But I guess we have to.
Kind of have
to. So
we
went through everything. We went through all of our name. That it expedited our name change to the much better Honey Meadows. Dan, you were right. It expedited our name change. We had to, get a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was the process for that.
Okay. And then now you guys are going on a European tour.
Yeah, just a few weeks.
Just a few weeks. Are you prepared for that?
No.
So how do you figure out the economics and logistics of getting a 5-piece band?
Yeah, we're taking 5. We generally perform as a 5-piece.
Yeah. How do you figure out the economics, logistics of taking all 5 members to another country?
Well,
what
luckily,
do you start with?
We have a great manager,
okay,
and a great booking agent now that helps with a lot. We are still doing our own tour managing for the most part.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll probably need a more experienced tour manager than just the combination of the three of us.
Yeah.
But that said, what's bringing us to Europe is a pair of festivals that we're playing.
Okay.
And these festivals are like our anchor dates.
Okay.
Those are the only two like gigs we got in Europe. But it's these two festivals, and they pay enough to pretty much cover the cost of the trip.
Got it. Okay.
So those are our two anchors. That's what is like can get us there.
Got it.
Our Easy Eye Sound, which is the record label that Dan Auerbach owns and that we're signed to, is kind of they have a partnership with a bigger umbrella agency called Concord.
Okay.
So Concord's a very, very big record label that partners mostly with independent record labels. So they kind of act as like a funding arm for a bunch of independent record labels. So the independent record labels get to still sign the artists they want to sign, by and large, probably with varying degrees of freedom given to them. Dan Auerbach's label gets a lot more freedom than somebody else I've never heard of, as you might expect. But anyway, so this umbrella record label, Concord, they have offices in Paris and in London. And so we're bookending these two festivals we're playing with a Paris show and a trip to the Paris office to maybe do some promo stuff, and then a London show with a trip to the London office, and also they're going to set us up some promo stuff.
That's awesome, man.
It's great. And then one of the ways you make that work financially is that, you know, with our record deal, promotional costs come from the record label. So if you ever see the Ani Meadows billboard,
I can't wait to see that.
I
billboard.
I hope you don't. I hope you don't. But
that shit's not cheap.
It's not cheap. I also don't know how effective it is for music. If they put a giant QR code on a Lamar billboard and then cause 400 accidents.
Yeah, that's what I really want in a billboard is a QR code as I'm driving.
That I have to scan. That I keep clicking the screen to make it focus, and then I crash into a Tesla.
That's a marketing technique. By all means, maybe give it a shot, but I don't think your ROI is going to be very beneficial for you.
If you see one of those, you'll know that I was not on that promotional conference call. But that's okay. I don't think you will. However, the record label's responsible for promo costs. Okay. So us going to the record label office and doing a quick podcast, or going to, they set us up like in London. I think we're doing like a in-store at like a record shop.
Hell yeah.
They set that all up.
Yeah.
This falls under their purview of promotions.
Okay.
Which means they're paying for it.
Yeah.
So with those two promotional dates, with, you know, the record label pitches in money to make that promo stuff happen, to try to sell more records, plus the two festival dates, that gets us to a point where we are making it work financially.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
And then also promo stuff comes out of, there's something called tour support that record labels can offer their bands, which is where the record label just, you know, gives you a little, I don't know what it looks like. I've never had access to it before. Gives you a chunk of change to help offset some tour costs, because they want you out on the road selling records.
Yeah. That's your job.
Yeah. You know, so they can under the guise of this is promotional for us, we want to put you out there. They help with some. We got to like negotiate it all pretty carefully, but they're gonna help with some tour costs like that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
That'll help us just exist out there, and
right?
Not
right.
keep.
Because from what I've read online, going on tour, well, especially here in the United States, you're lucky to break even. And my thought was like, okay, so you're just basically you're losing money for the exposure that you're, gaining with new audiences and new places, and so in hopes that'll grow your audience, right?
That's often the case.
Yeah.
That you lose money going out on the road, or you can kind of break even. It can pay dividends
Right.
down the line.
Yeah.
Possibly. But and again, these are for bands that are like early in their stages.
Right.
Bands that are headlining rooms and selling tickets can always make money.
Yeah.
But
so I had the luxury, thanks to shout out Zach Carter for hiring me for filming a few panels during South by. It was really good paydays. They were all boring except one, which was put on by Black Wing, which is a pencil company.
okay.
They decided to put on a showcase or a panel to talk about this pencil, which cost $40.
Okay.
It's a $40 pencil. The company's called Black Wing, and John Steinbeck and the Disney animators really love this type of pencil, but because it costs so much to make this pencil, they just stopped doing it. And these two guys who were former musicians decided to revamp the company and, make it cool again.
Okay.
And so once I heard that they were musicians and they're now selling a $40 pencil, obviously they pivoted from their musical careers. They opened up the floor to questions. And so one of the questions I asked the CEO was, how do you make money as a musician here in 2026? And his response was, if you can get 1,000 people to buy merchandise from you as a musician, that's the only viable way that I see you making a living off of being a musician. So what is your take on that? And how do you make money in 2026 as a musician? Not the way that Animeros is making money now, because obviously that's,
we're not making...
we're
not making the money you think.
No. That's what. How do you make a living? Was what, I guess what I'm.
Oh
asking.
well, I mean, the number one answer is you have to be very comfortable with a certain type of living.
Right.
I mean, my version of making a living is probably wildly different from a lot of other people's.
Okay.
It's certainly different from my mom and dad.
Sure.
Calling back to those college days. That said, so once first of all, you do it because you just have to.
Yeah.
If you don't have to, I would say don't. But it's a thing that if you do it if you can't do anything else. But also, like I said, I'm a teacher. I teach music most days of the week, almost every day. I teach music lessons. I occasionally get paid to do some arranging. I do some writing or arranging for different bands and stuff like that here and there. Hit me up if you need any arrangement services, please.
Shout out Nick.
Shout out Nick Tozzo. Shout out at Nick Tozzo Drums on Instagram. And then I'm fortunate enough I play with a handful of bands in Austin. So I'm lucky to where I'm kind of always working. I play with Superphonicos and the Animeros. Obviously, and Animeros is keeping me the most busy currently, but Superphonicos is still out there working, doing great stuff. And then I work, I'm playing, let's say Thursday. I'm playing on Saturday, Seaboys with Gypsy Mitchell, the legend Gypsy Mitchell.
Gypsy Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm playing with Gypsy. So I play in his band, and that's South by was pretty busy for his band, but normally that's like once a month.
Yeah.
And then I just work with a couple other bands here and there, and I just finding and then I get the occasional call to sub in for somebody or do something. So I'm able to work enough in Austin that with my teaching my teaching career is how I'm making my living. But as far as band economics, I mean, yeah, merch is great.
Yeah.
And people are so much more receptive to merch than I kind of thought they would be. We just played last week Miami and Atlanta, and we did good on merch sales in Miami, and we did amazing on Atlanta. Bought the rest of our stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
The rest of everything we brought, those crowds in Atlanta at the Variety Playhouse were just so welcoming, and they just bought so much of our stuff. And so, crowds out on the road are really very supportive, and they do buy merch. So have good designs ready to go. Have some inventory.
Yeah.
But I don't know if merch is the only way to make money. It's a really good one. But also, there's bands making money, but they're the ones selling tickets. If you're not selling the ticket, if you're not the headliner and you are not selling the tickets, then you're not making money in that way.
Right. I thought when you're a musician, I always thought you're just a musician. But now as I have more conversations with musicians, it seems like you're not just a musician, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. So do you think it would be beneficial for musicians to have just a general understanding of what it takes to run a business?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. And if you're an Austin musician, HAM, join HAM, the Health Alliance for Austin Musicians, in addition to their, the healthcare services that they provide and help people find. They also offer all kinds of like continuing education things. So HAM does like business, like a business seminar once every couple of months. Okay. You can go and learn. You can learn about. They'll talk about forming a business, like forming an entity if you need to, or
LLC.
They'll talk about some taxes. I've seen some that are as simple as learning about like just the terms, inventory, like LIFO, FIFO inventory type terms, or what is the difference between revenue and expenses or whatever. What's the difference between gross and net? It's okay if you don't know what those are, which I'm sure most people do. But if you don't, that's fine. There's people out there that will talk to you about it.
Yeah, had no idea all those terms before I started my business, and I had to learn through failure about what is the difference between gross and net and all that stuff. So as I grow in my own business, I'm learning more and more things about the very boring stuff on the side of business, which sucks because I don't want to do it, but it's very important if I want to be sustainable. Another question I had is I saw a video on Instagram from these two musicians. I believe they're from Austin, and they said something that kind of piqued my interest, which was Austin needs more of a Nashville industry when it comes to the music scene. What do you take from that?
I can talk about that forever.
Please, yeah.
Because obviously I've lived in Austin and performed here for a really long time. I've been to Nashville twice, but I've seen kind of the difference. I don't know. Saying something needs something is always very subjective. Like why, I don't know why I don't know what these two dudes think.
Right.
But so here, let's just talk about what some of those differences are, rather. And there's a very, very good reason why Austin is the live music capital of the world. And that's something I believe is still true to this day. But what Austin has that no other great music city has, first of all, is we have the reason that term comes is that we have more music venues per capita than anywhere else.
Hell yeah, bro.
It's the music venues that give us that, okay? And our music venues are precious, and what is it that our music venues offer, even though we have just more of them per capita? But first of all, it helps to keep your capita small. But beyond that, what the music venues offer and what Austin music fans for many, many years supported was original new music is being played at all of these clubs. We have our tourism district. We have 6th Street, which is where cover bands go and play, and those cover bands are very good. They're great, and some people are making really great money playing those 6th Street venues, and they're doing it frequently, and they're working, and crowds love it. They're doing that. That's
Pause right there.
Okay.
All right, we have those venues.
We're back on? All right.
Yep.
So we have those venues for our cover band things, but a majority of our music venues in Austin are places like, what you see on Red River or on South Congress. These are places where people are showcasing their original music. Okay. So if you're a songwriter, if you're a musician, you're writing your own music, composing your own songs or writing songs, there's an opportunity for you to get on stage in this town and perform. You can play a show somewhere. You will get in somewhere and play something somewhere for somebody that is interested to see it. Because our fans want to see original music from Austin bands. Musicians want to perform their own music for receptive crowds. Austin has that. Great. Nashville has a recording studio industry and a label industry, and all the peripheral businesses that support that or that feed off of that, all that symbiotic relationship stuff. Nashville has that at a much higher level than we have. We have great recording studios here in Austin. We have a lot of them.
Hell yeah.
What we don't really have is the instrument repair guy that shows up with his van at an hour's notice to fix your organ for you, or the instrument repair guy that comes to your studio and can fix your board in an hour, so you're only losing an hour of the day when something goes wrong. If something breaks in Austin, it kind of breaks for a while. Unless you can fix it yourself, unless or you can take it to somebody to fix it, whatever. But there's a mobile repair industry in Nashville that I got to see, because stuff broke when we were in the studio up there.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to call the guy, and the guy showed up. We have our live rental places.
Yeah.
We have Rock and Roll Rentals. We've got Nomad. We've got handful of other places. Austin Backline, who, the majority of their instrument rental, I think, is geared towards. I mean, anybody can just rent anytime, but a lot of it is geared towards shows. Austin Backline and Nomad, a lot of their instruments are, they're putting on the stage at the festivals they're running. They're not. There's a studio version of that in Nashville. A guy named Sam Bacco, shout out Sam. He has a warehouse full of percussion instruments, and then if you have a session at Nashville and you need some kind of obscure percussion instrument, you call up Sam and he brings it to the studio and he signs it out to you and leaves it for the length of your session, however it is, and then you can get it back to him later, vice versa, whatever. All that kind of stuff is part of that. As for the cover band thing, what's that, Broadway? Yeah, which is their 6th Street. That's with all the, it's much more like corporate, but they take that much more seriously. I've played at most of the 6th Street bars, one at one time or another. I was never heavy into that scene. I didn't get a ton of work there, but I've played a number of those venues, and most of them don't have a drum set. They have a PA, and it's stored away in a closet, and you got to get it out, and it kind of doesn't work.
It's collecting cobwebs and
Yeah,
you might get bit by Black Widow pulling it out.
There's tape over the channels that don't work, so don't stick anything in here. Channel 2, Channel 6, and Channel 9 don't work.
So you got 3 channels.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. When I was walking around Broadway in September, I was just marveling at like every stage has like a plexiglass drum shield, so that the drums aren't too loud so the engineer can like mix it and control it. All the microphone stands have like plexiglass shields. There's also like a barricade, so the drummers, when I was playing 6th Street shows, you're up against the wall. People on the sidewalk can just touch the drummer's back. You can't do that in Nashville.
Yep. Oh, okay.
In Austin,
well, that kind of takes out the fun of it,
I mean, I guess. I don't know how much I feel like getting touched by 6th Streeters these days. Maybe it was more fun when I was 19 and doing it.
Yeah.
But just in Nashville, you just can't. The stage is like built in such a way that the people just can't grab you.
Yeah.
And all the sound systems are they just have invested a lot more in that kind of stuff.
Well, that kind of it makes me wonder why Friends Bar, like it seems like they haven't updated their sound system in a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just seems like that's such a destination. Well, at least a lot of the musicians that I do work with, they play there a lot. And I'm like, is there a way for me to tap into the line? And the majority of the time, they're like, we have no clue. We just go in, we turn on the thing, and then that's it. So it seems like an established place like that should invest in a sound system. But either way, that's not for me.
Maybe they just that's not that important. And also, Friends Bar isn't owned by Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Or Jason Aldean, or I'm running out of Nashville famous country guys that I
can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Who's the third one? Does Keith Urban still?
Keith Urban, that would be
around?
one. Jason Aldean, you mentioned that.
Heard of him?
Toby Keith.
That's
the main. Yeah, that's the guy.
He's still.
I think so. He's got to have a bar on Broadway.
The Toby Keith bar, or the Jelly Roll has a bar.
Oh,
I'm
shit!
sure.
I didn't know that.
Probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm making stuff up, but the point is, whatever corporation is secretly backing the Jelly Roll bar, putting his name on it, that he doesn't ever have to go to if he doesn't want to, they just invested a lot more into it. But that makes a very corporate kind of scene, and also I think if you're an original. I mean, so much of their music scene is on Broadway. I think if you're an original musician in Nashville, I don't think it's as easy to find the stage time. I think there's musicians fighting for fewer stages to showcase their original stuff,
right?
Than here in Austin.
Okay, all right. Because I do know that I want musicians to make as much money as they possibly can, but there's certain limitations to that, obviously. And I feel like with the infrastructure of Nashville, you are going to make more money, but also at what cost? And I think the cost is you're going to be performing covers for the benefit of the tourist industry. And I think to your point, it's like Austin is not that type of place, and I don't think I want it to be that type of place.
Yeah, and I don't think every place has to be the same. I mean, again, Nashville also offers a lot of other music adjacent jobs. My music adjacent job is I teach private lessons. But and then other guys they own their own studios, and they work at studios and they record, and maybe that's making them enough if they have a steady stream of clients. But you could work for a record label in Nashville. Yeah. You could work for a label doing something. I don't but you can work in the music industry. You can be the receptionist at a at a
hotel.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I just mean like like a place that rents out instruments and stuff like that,
yeah.
or you know, I mean, I guess we have instrument stores,
Rehearsal
here too.
studios,
rehearsal
Yeah.
places, which we have some of those, of course. But there's so many like label jobs, again, repair jobs, you know, tour van. You know, you can get a job detailing tour buses in Nashville, because people's tour buses live in Nashville, and then they go from there.
Yeah.
You could get that job. You're still in the music industry somehow.
Music adjacent, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing something. You could be like, wow, I cleaned Metallica's tour bus today before I went to my gig at night. That was pretty cool.
Right.
And then while I was cleaning, you know, James Hetfield walked on and he was like, "Hey, have you seen a iPod Shuffle around here? I left mine." And you'd be like, "Yeah, of course, I found it right over here." And he's like, "Thanks, man.
Like,
what's your name?"
Nah, man, I only listen to Napster. Sorry, bro. I have all my files from Napster before you fucking ruined it.
If you get a chance to meet somebody, don't say the thing that'll piss them off.
I know. But it'd be funny. I could say it now because
funny.
I'm sure if I ever met James Hetfield, I'd be like, "Oh my God, you're a god."
Yeah. Well, also, if he's looking for an iPod Shuffle, he shouldn't be on his tour bus. He should be on
That's
his time
true.
machine.
I think we need to bring iPod Shuffles back because the only times that I want to
Bring regular iPods back.
Well, sure, yeah. It was such a good thing that way I can separate my music from my phone, because when I go on walks, I just want to listen to music, but I also don't want to have this thing in my pocket to where I am tempted to check Instagram and, you know, Google the random thought in my head where I should just be listening to music and not succumb to my vice. But it is what it is. Okay. Well, Nick,
if you really want to make a ton of money playing music, you have to get really good at jazz and move to New Orleans. Because you can play.
Are you serious?
Kind of. You can play three. So New Orleans has a great music scene as well, just like Nashville and Austin, L.A. and New York. New Orleans has an incredible music scene. You could play 3 shows a day if you're talented. You could play jazz brunch. Find a brunch place that wants to have a jazz trio.
Yeah.
You can play drums for a jazz trio at brunch. You can play a happy hour show at some other place, and then you can play with the cover band on Bourbon Street at night. That's 3 shows a day. You're probably making pretty good money. You're making it as a musician for sure. You're playing Autumn Leaves at brunch. You're playing some kind of funk cover. You know, you're playing a Parliament tune at happy hour, and then you're playing "Don't Stop Believing."
I was about to say, you're playing fucking Journey.
You're playing "Don't Stop Believing" at dinner
for the 5th time,
or at not dinner
night.
at
2 a.m.
and your 5-hour set, because New Orleans has long sets. If you're playing a cover band in New Orleans, you're playing like 9 to 3. It's long.
How is that humanly possible? That's insane. Like I've heard, I know bands play like 3-hour sets here. I'm like, damn, that's a long time. Obviously, they're having like a 10-minute break in between, but shit, man, that's
well. So that's the
marathon.
That's the thing. You can play 3 shows a day if you live in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I personally, first of all, I don't know if I'm good enough to get that jazz brunch gig.
You are.
But the thing is, all 3 of those gigs, the audience isn't, you don't get to show yourself to the audience. You're playing jazz standards, you're playing funk covers, you're playing top 40. You don't get to, it doesn't matter who's on stage. Well, that's mean. I don't need to say that. But what I like about music is doing the things I want to do.
Yeah.
So I don't play as much as these incredible New Orleans musicians, but what I'm doing is doing something that I think makes it worth it for me to live this lifestyle.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's respectable.
Doesn't have to be. Having a lot more money is cool, too. And you could do that in other towns, doing music a different way. There's cover guys. I got good friends in this town that are making killer money because they play with like really great cover bands that work a lot.
Yeah,
and they're just happy with the money.
Sure,
and that's like the performing is the part of it.
Yeah,
it's just different ways of what, it's just different things people want.
Well, we are well over an hour. Wait, we started at 1, right?
Yeah, I think I got here like right at 1.
Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours.
Oh man.
So time flies when I'm on these podcasts, and I love it because I learn so much. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, just thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the name of your show?
Pints and Professionals. We're supposed to have a beer during. I know, I forgot. I've been like really slacking on that, but when you come back from tour, we'll do it again. So we can talk about your tour and all the findings that you've found on tour.
Sure, would love to. Pints and Professionals.
Pints and Professionals.
Yeah, I mean, I see the clips all the time, but you need to start, because I see your clips on Instagram.
Yeah,
start putting the name
I
of
know. It's
text.
Yeah, I'll start doing that. I was kind of shied away from just posting the clips, but now I'm just going to do it more. I want to do more marketing with it just to grow the channel and see what comes of it. But it's been fun, like the whole thing about the Nashville bit that you just told me about. That's fascinating, and I think a lot of other musicians who do watch this channel, they get a lot out of it from an educational standpoint. So
maybe, and
this is going to be fascinating. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of benefit out of this.
That's one man's opinion from a guy who's been to Nashville twice. You know, I'm there's certainly Nashvillians who are much more who know much more about that ecosystem than I do.
Yeah, but I think the fact that you've been a weathered veteran here in Austin doing the whole music scene and some of the opportunities you've gotten, I think there's a lot to learn from that. And I'm excited to post this video because, like I said, I think a lot of people will get a benefit out of it. Cool, man.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me,
Well,
brother.
thank you so much. You said you're playing Saturday?
Yeah. Boys with Gypsy Mitchell, 10 p.m.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Come hang out. Come see Gypsy. He's the man. He might be the coolest dude on earth.
I might be able to make that. I'm going to Renfest on.
Oh, which one?
Sherwood.
Oh, love it.
Wife is a big Renfester, and
cool.
I'm not so much. We're gonna see how I do.
Is it your first time going?
This is the second time I'm going. I went the first time, and it was really cold, and I was very chivalrous and gave my jacket to my wife, who didn't bring any clothes. She didn't bother to check the weather. I'm like, what are you doing? Your lips are turning blue. Have my jacket. So I was a curmudgeon during that time, and this time I'm going to have a little bit better spirits because it's going to be better weather. But it's really not my thing. I'm putting forth a good effort just to appease her. And if I like it, great. But if I don't, I'm going to have to tell her, listen, this is not for me. And I'm sorry. I just can't do it. At least I tried.
I went once, and I had to Sherwood. I've never been anywhere else.
Did you get the turkey leg?
No,
that's
dude. The ovens were.
About.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
My whole day was built around that. The ovens were down.
What?
They didn't have turkey legs.
There's this thing called fire that they used back in medieval times. What the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, although they didn't eat turkey back in medieval times.
No, they ate some sort of fowl. Maybe it was geese or something.
Pheasant.
Yeah,
big.
Yeah.
But turkey's from the Americas.
That's true. Listen, you don't have to fact check me on my own podcast. I can do that.
I'm fact checking you. All right, I'm not going to let you become a part of the manosphere I'm not going to let you just make spurious claims.
Up. Yeah. All right. Well, Nick, thank you again. We'll see you next time, and thank you for watching. God bless. Bye.